And thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Danapalooza. Today, we have a very special panel just for you and the viewing audience. We have an acting panel with our amazing acting guest. We have James Quinn, Rusty Gilligan, Delaney Hathaway, and Aleen Isley. So, thank you everybody for being here. For those watching and future watching, I want to make sure that you guys check out this amazing stuff right now. Right now, available Amityville Christmas Vacation. You can check it out on the streaming service Tubi. Um, Also, right now, a good movie to definitely watch for the holiday, The 12th Letters. It's currently looking for the film festivals, and it will be available in summer 2023. And also, if you're looking for something new to get involved and check out the production company, 3BT. You can check out the social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, if you want good advice and support, be it acting or in the art realm, check out the main man, Rusty Gilligan, on social media on Facebook. Thank you, everybody, and that is the plug segment. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, so I think that we've all decided that we're going to hijack the show and we're going to interview Dan rather than having
You can
Dan.
do that. People do that.
I think that was yeah. So
Lead the way then, Rusty.
I kind of like that story that you told about your first acting.
Oh, okay. I can go ahead and reminisce. So my first acting experience, James and Aleen and Delaney and Rusty, was I was in the Christmas nativity scene. I was about 7, 8 years old, and I was the knight and messenger, and somebody made this long wooden sword. Like it was longer than my leg. Like I thought I was carrying like a crutch, and so like they had made it out of wood, and they didn't even like sand it down. Like it's like fresh from the shop. Here you go. And so, when you're 7 and you're just playing around, and you're not maybe much as in character as you should be. So I had this sword, and I was swinging and swinging, and then I swung like this, and then it went, and then I heard a sound like a scream, and I had hit my acting partner in the nose with my prop. And then there was blood on it, and I was trying to shake it off and everything, and like yeah, I really was. I was trying to shake it off, and then I heard, "You hurt my nose," and and she was like wearing red also, so that didn't help. And then she was playing one of the wise men, and then I know like some of the other cast members didn't get along with her. She was kind of bossy, so they were like clapping. So I got like applause for like doing that, and so basically the priest and the nun got mad at me, and they're like, "Come here," and they had to grab me by the hand, and like we're gonna tell your mother. And I'm like, the whole time, James and Aleen, I was like obsessed with Nintendo, because this is like early 90s. So I was like, "You can't tell them I want Nintendo." And they're like, "Yeah." I go, "But Nintendo." And I was like all obsessed about the Nintendo, and I know that I came back and the cast still like clapped and everything like that, and I apologized, and she had like cotton in her nose and everything, and I even made the joke because I was sarcastic, and I said she should have seen it coming. She's playing the wise man. It's not really playing.
How did she not see that?
That's never good. That is just never good.
So the story in the nutshell was after that, and I came home, and what did I get? Nintendo. So
So in the end, it wasn't all bad.
But I've never done that place since. But So that's the story.
And he also doesn't own any wooden swords anymore either.
No, they're all file bound. But yeah, when I say the sword, it really is longer. It's longer than my 7-year-old leg. It's like huge.
So like a Buster sword.
Yes, and I was like barely like so. Instead of giving me a rubber one, so I think like eventually they made like a holster and then they sanded it and like all this stuff and.
I mean, they really should have probably like thought that through before giving a giant sword to a 7-year-old. But hey,
Yes.
hey.
Yes, but I mean, I tell that story and everybody usually gets a big kick out of that. So, although some people still mess with me with props, they're like, "Put your prop down, Dan," and just. So, that's the joke and that's the story. But so I hope you enjoyed Memory Lane. But I want to ask you questions now. So, and this is kind of like going to where we are now in 2022. And I'll start with James. James, do you think in the future we'll see more kind of like virtual auditions versus in person? And which do you prefer?
Yeah, well, I think they're already here in terms of the future. I think they've gone virtual already. That's 90% of what we do right now is virtual. There's been very few in person in the last, say, 2.5 years. I think that's what they're leaning toward. For one, I do prefer in person. I love it. I love to be able to get in front of an audience and to meet people and talk to the room. I think we give our best in person when they can see what we have. But I mean, virtual. There's upsides to it too, because now you can come home. You got a deadline. Maybe it's got to be in by noon tomorrow, but you don't have to be there at 2 p.m. You go home, do it at the convenience of your home, set up your lighting the way you want. So you have ways to tweak it and make it perfect too. But I'm more of a people person. I do prefer to go in person, but I think this is the way we're heading right now, at least for the foreseeable future. That a lot will be, video, so it's something we got to get used to.
Definitely. Delaney, same question. Do you think we'll do more virtual auditions or in person, and what do you prefer?
Yeah, I think I really have to second what James said there. There's plus sides and downsides, or plus sides and negatives to it, like he was saying, and one of them being with the pandemic that's come, like obviously things have gotten a lot more isolated, but like with that, people have been able to really gather the equipment and stuff that they would need to be able to do these self-tapes at home. And you can also use that same equipment to do, like we were talking about beforehand, off screen, for those of people that weren't aware, that same equipment can be used to make your own, like content and things like that. So it's like you're investing in yourself as an actor, which is a positive. But the negative to it too is it is isolating. Like, you're by yourself typically, or maybe you have a one other Zoom reader or partner or something like that, and you're doing those auditions. But we have to adapt, and with that adaptability, I think has also come a lot of opportunity, because before, when you had to be in an audition, sometimes if the auditions were not in your market, you couldn't go to them unless you were really planning on traveling, and then that's like a whole other thing. But now with the online auditions, or the virtual auditions, you can do that literally anywhere. I've had auditions recently that were for other states that I've been able to just do in my house, and callbacks as well. And so it's been really nice. We didn't have to worry about like the traveling and all those fees, accumulating afterwards until like the actual project comes along. So I do think we're going to continue in this direction, but I do think we are also going to go back in person, like for the people that can do it, production companies and things like that have that availability. I think it's going to be a lot of like or like if you can make it in person, cool, but it's not going to be a detriment if you can't.
All right, those are very excellent points. Aleen, same question.
It really depends. When we do our film auditions, generally they're taped, they're video auditions. So we get submissions from all over the place, sometimes even from out of state. Like James was saying, from the convenience of people's schedule and at home. But then, like, I'm also in the musical theater world, and we definitely prefer live. Things are back to live auditions there. A lot of places are letting you send in tapes, but in my opinion, tapes have been detrimental to getting cast in live shows. I think you're unable to really showcase your true personality and energy that you have when you're just on tape. And you have to look at bringing people in for chemistry as well. If you need people that work well together, you've got two separate tapes. It would be nice to schedule time in person to see how people work together. So while I do think the availability is much stronger now for virtual auditions, I do think there's something to be said for live auditions still being important and useful.
Yep, I think that those are really good points, and I look at it, at both sides of the spectrum, and I definitely agree as far as the theater stuff. It definitely helps being there in person and having somebody to respond versus tape. I don't feel like I get that, feel or reading of, is this person like what I'm doing? I feel sometimes I got to do multiple takes because I feel like I'm not giving enough emotion as I would, in person. Rusty, same question.
I'm going to agree with everybody, but I'm going to bring up another point. I mean, personally, to me, I prefer live over everything. And when I do voice work, they're always asking for tapes of, here's your reel, here's what I did for this one, here's what I did for that one. So, for voiceover stuff, they don't ask for live. But it also depends on the size of the performer and the size of the production. They're not going to ask for a virtual from somebody like Schwarzenegger. They're going to try to fly him in, and they're going to try and schmooze him and have him in the office and blah, 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 blah. So that's really it. There's a lot more independent and home production going on. So having virtual is a huge plus. I did a role in a horror film recently where I was just sitting in the office with a curtain behind me, and they mocked it up, and I'm playing like secret agent in the office or whatever, and I didn't even have to get up. I mean, it's like I got pajama pants on and I got the shirt and tie on, and I'm blah blah blah, and you're gonna do this, and they were perfect with it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, oh my god, I get to put my sweatshirt back on and go watch TV. So it really depends. It really depends on the size of the production. Especially today with all the COVID nonsense and all the lockdowns and everything. So, but I agree with everybody else. Live is the best way to go. I just enjoy. I would literally like to be in the audience, hundreds of people out there, and just like get up and walk on stage and just like knock everybody off and just start a routine or start something to entertain everybody, and then just walk off.
Well, maybe that will come to fruition someday if I ever get this to be a live show. I will let you definitely do that. So
no, you don't want to unleash me on unsuspecting people.
But that's the most reaction you'll get. That's the most response. Live. So now I have a fun question, and I'm gonna ask if you can also demonstrate. It's just a little small task. I want to know maybe what is your favorite accent to do, and can you demonstrate any of it?
Who are you asking?
Can we start with James?
Sure, we can. Let's see. I don't do a lot of them. I mean, I like Irish. I always have a lot of fun with Irish. I tend to go a little overboard and almost get a little bit leprechaun. But it's a lot of fun. We've done it with comedy. We've done it with action. And so I really, anytime I can play with Irish, probably with my Irish background, I just kind of enjoy that a lot. And so we want to do a demonstration. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a wee little lad, is he? Danny, where have you been, lad? I haven't seen you in forever.
Bravo, bravo. That was great.
That was great.
Well, it just makes me laugh. I run around the house doing it, driving it.
Okay. Delaney, do you have a favorite accent and one that, if you want to demonstrate?
So, my favorite accent, I think, to listen to people talk in would be Australian. I don't know why, but it just is. Can I do it? Absolutely not. But I'm in a choir, the RCC Renaissance City Choir. It's the largest LGBTQ plus choir in Western Pennsylvania, and our director is from Australia, and I just absolutely love listening to her talk. Like, it's just great. And it makes me want to learn an accent, but I can truthfully say I don't have any in my repertoire right now.
Okay, that's fair enough. But I love the choice. Let's go to Aleen.
Oh God, I do a lot of them, but usually I like to have content. The most recent one, there's two. I did a lot of the German for Ilsa and Carousel too. So in that movie, I was a villain, and I was very mean. And then I love getting to talk to my little bubble. I love to talk with my Jewishness and like my like Brooklyn kind of like I just like that like housing part of the theater. We did Anything Goes, and in the show, my daughter, she was like a little tramp. I had to walk her around the boat, and she was looking at all the other guys, and I was like, "You got to keep it in your pants. This is the 30s. We don't do that." Anyway, it's as good as I got right now.
Yeah, that was fabulous.
Wow.
And let's go to Rusty.
I don't get asked to do accents but I get asked to do crazy voices. I did a part where I played a giant cat. I did the voice, and someone else was in the costume, so mine was like a dub. And I played a giant cat in a movie called Captain Corpse about 6 months, 7 months ago, and they want crazy voices. So it's like, you want me to lick myself free of evidence? Give it a good show. I'll give you half of whatever you give me. I had a lot of great lines, like stupid stuff that makes the stupid voice sound even better. But I can't even remember the last time I did an accent. It was like, let me see. I have the script here because I wanted to see if I could say something. Say, milk helps me stay sharp. You don't want me out there if I'm not my sharpest. So, but that's about the extent of my acting ability. There's stupid, then there's stupider, and then there's me, and then I have all those. And that's about all I can say for that, Jan.
I think it's only fair that I do it as well too, because I did an accent for a character for this play farce, and it was a Middle Eastern accent. I played a character who was a Middle Eastern, and he had an issue with a playwright, and he thought he was writing something about his god, so he was stalking the author within the hotel room and everything. And so it's called, I don't know if you've ever heard of the play, it's called What the Bellhop Saw. And his introduction is he's dressed up in a bellhop thing with, like a big beard. And so I'll just go ahead and do the accent. But I would open the door, and I would look at the people, and I would go, "Rooming service." And I would introduce, and I would be like, "Have you seen the?" And I would just start going into that Middle Eastern accent. I watched quite a bit of Jeff Dunham, Ahmed. That was some of it. I watched some of Borat, and then some of the stuff I did. So I mixed it all together. But always that rooming service, I would extend the O's so it would elongate as I opened the doorway.
Nice.
So there are pictures of that. There was a scene where I had they gave like a fake bomb, and like I had to do like this whole little dance thing and weave around people. So I pretended it was like football, and I would weave around, and then I would jump out the window. And
Okay, where is this that we can watch it? Come on, that's it. That's the end right there, brother. I want to see it now. Now I want to see it.
It was a theatrical one, but there are photos. But if you want to see, there are photos, and like my hair is like very black and long, and some people actually thought I was Middle Eastern. Like they really thought I had come overseas, and like I was really like not from here. And so I was like, I go to the university, you know, and I would just
That's the greatest compliment of all.
exactly, you know. So, but people always got a kick out of that. People would just be doing that, and I would always open that door, elongate, and sometimes I would make it so, ooh, and I would make it really long, and like, you know, or sometimes I'd make it really short. So it was trying to learn that accent, and sometimes learning how using the vowels. So
Very cool.
so I'm
Yeah, it
glad that
works.
was one of the last shows that I did. But yeah, if you want to know more, I'll tell you more.
You didn't hit anybody with a sword either, so that's good.
No, they you know,
You're
Well, I
exempt in the world.
contract Rusty, no swords, you know, like
He graduated from sword to bombs. That's what it was.
there's like play security that goes through stuff.
No, he graduated from swords to bombs. So now now the next thing he does, God help us all.
Go ahead.
But yeah, it was definitely fake. But and I would always put the jacket on wrong so you could tell it was like me and everything, very haggardly. Or I'd try to hide behind the curtain, you'd see my feet dangling out. So it was a lot of fun. But let's get back to you guys because you're superstar performers. I don't like to always talk so much about myself. So kind of I'm wondering like who are your favorite actors and actresses that maybe inspired you, they inspire you now or when you were younger? Like who do you look for inspiration? And let's start with Delaney.
Okay, so this is kind of funny. We just had this same conversation in one of my like acting classes I was taking last week, just to get to know each other and stuff. And the two people that I mentioned were Anne Hathaway and Rachel McAdams, and both of them are people that I look up to because I think, or I feel that a lot of what they've done in their career are career goals of my own, and a lot of just who they are and how they are as people, like in both their personal life and their professional life, I align with a lot. So I don't know. I just think they're both super insanely talented actresses. And if my life, my career could be half as decorated as theirs, I would be 100% happy. But it's going to happen. I'm manifesting it. It's going to happen.
And those are great choices. I believe Rachel McAdams was in Night at the Museum too, and I believe that she played. I'm trying to remember her name right now. I just remember I really enjoyed that character.
Amelia Earhart, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Amelia Earhart. That's who I was trying to remember, but that's who I really enjoyed. But every time I see her, it's just amazing work. So
yeah. Her favorite, one of her more recent movies that she's done, and one of my favorites is Game Night. I don't know if anybody's seen it.
I've heard of it.
Not yet.
It's so funny. It's like a dark comedy, more on the comedy, but like it's really funny. I'd recommend if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. I think you'll laugh a lot, and it's not, the title of it is very deceiving. I'll just put it that way.
All right, we'll definitely check that out. Aleen, same question.
I've always really, really appreciated Helena Bonham Carter. I love her and everything. She's weird, and she can play evil, she could play goofy and strange, and that's what I like to do. I like to be evil, goofy, or strange. I don't fall after a lot of the ingenue characters in movies or shows because it's just not my style. Uh, Musical theater wise, gosh, I love Sutton Foster. Her talent is extraordinary, especially when she was Fiona in Shrek the Musical. That was where she really like grabbed my attention. And in the theme of Shrek, Brian Darcy James is a beautiful, beautiful man with a beautiful range of emotions and a lovely Scottish brogue. So currently, that's kind of my front runners. I don't have a lot of film actors that I'm like super obsessed over right now, but that's definitely where my love lies.
And I think those are really great choices. It's a nice collection of people with different talents and skills. So let's go to James. Same question.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I have. I mean, I have so many there are, but Michael Keaton, Michael J. Fox, Humphrey Bogart, Bruce Willis, and what these guys do that spoke to me. And there's the old term that less is more. So by talking less and doing more with body language and looks and the things that they do when they walk into a room, I think they can really sell a scene without even talking sometimes, and that's always spoken to me. Something that I've tried to adapt myself over time. I love the body language. I think it's key. Otherwise, I don't. You can talk all you want. I don't think it's believable if the body language isn't on cue. Those guys are really, they do it in spades. And so for me, it's people like Matthew McConaughey. There's so many of them out there that have inspired my entire career. And, if I could do a fraction of what they do, then I'm on the right path.
All right. And Rusty?
I had a great answer picked, but now I'm thinking about this Middle Eastern guy with the bomb. That's
hard to get.
I'm going to have a perfect place on my wall for a poster. For me, I have to say probably the most disappointing answer among everybody. But for me, it's John Wayne. He played himself in every part and a little bit different. He was the bad guy. He was the perennial good guy. He was the victim, etc. I find those type of characters. He didn't just play a character. He played himself. He gave himself to his art. And with the amount of credits that he had, and towards the middle of his career, he was physically injured and continued to be injured all the way to the last film that he did, which was the best film that he ever did, the Shootist. To me, he's the best. I actually got to meet him, so that to me was like amazing when I was a kid. And but that's who I pick. As for voice roles, it's got to be Mel Blanc, who did all of the amazing voices for almost everything you could think of. It's not even worth mentioning one, but for everything that you can think of, he was very versatile. He proved that he had 100 sides, and just when you thought you reached number 100, he had 100 more. So, but my answer for me would be John Wayne. And that Middle Eastern guy with the bomb.
He's classic. I'll go ahead and I'll answer as well. So one of my inspirations has always been Robin Williams. Ever since I was a child, he's always been there. He's larger than life.
Amazing.
I feel like I'm not as large, maybe in doses, but definitely not big as him. But I've always enjoyed all his characters, from Mrs. Doubtfire to the genie in Aladdin, and I just like that he would go right into things. Like, there was never any fear; he just went right into it, and you kind of never knew what you were going to get. So. He's always been one of my big, and I always liked how very well supportive he is. Like, if you listen to him and he's done interviews, like, he's very kind, and he's like very like understanding, and like, I see like he gets along well with others. So him, and then John Lithgow is my other one. I really like him in Spies Like Us, and I also like him in Third Rock from the Sun. I mean, just hilarious character throughout there. Him as Dick and just all. I didn't know that he could be silly too, and so that was like interesting because you would watch like Planet of the Apes, and they would give like an emotional performance, and then you see like this wacky, out of character. So I like that he had two different blends as a performer. So John Lithgow has always been one of my favorites. Him and Robin Williams. So
Keeping it in the Shrek family.
pretty much, If I had Mike Myers, I'm going to be very predictable. But it's so those are the characters, and I still miss Robin, but I look back at everything that he left us, and he left a lot of great memories. I feel like. So, as we're going into 2023, would you like to perform more on the stage, on film, or both? And we'll start with Aleen.
For me, this is a really big year for stage productions. I've gotten picky over the years and started only doing shows that I'm super passionate about. My home theater right now has a slate that is basically, I feel like people made it for me, even though I'm probably just going to be ensemble in every show. It doesn't matter. Like, it's all my favorite musicals. It's the Pittsburgh premiere of Something Rotten in a community theater. We're doing a tap show. We're doing Crazy for You in the fall. I'm directing the children's show right now, Freckle Face Strawberry. So it's going to be a big stage year. But I do have a film lined up for February, and we're probably going to script treat Carousel 3 this year. So it could be a little bit of both, but mostly on stage.
There you go. Well, we look forward to you on the stage limelight. So kudos to you and all the future shows. I'm sure will be fabulous. Let's move on to Delaney. Same question.
So I would say I am probably going to focus more on film again. With the pandemic happened, words are hard. That kind of took me out of a lot of just my creative endeavors in general, and I realized how much I missed being on set, like anywhere. And I've learned this past 2022, I was on a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I really missed being in front of the camera. So my goal for 2023 is to just really focus on acting and like being more in front of the camera, which is why I'm taking all these classes right now and just like getting back into it, because I've been on kind of a hiatus for about a year, and I didn't like that. I also just discovered that there's a community theater right up the street from my house, which I had no idea. It's in a church. And they performed Southern Fried Chicken about 2 months ago. It was so freaking funny. So freaking funny. I had a friend that was in it, and so we went to go support her, and I literally died. And I was like, if I would have known that this stage production was so close to me, like I probably would have pursued that sooner. So there's like a possibility that I'll be on that stage that's nearby, but I definitely think film is gonna take up the majority of my time.
We look forward to all your film accolades next year. So please let us know so we can share and support you. Okay.
I will.
Alrighty. Let's move down to James. Same question.
I welcome it all, bud. But much like Delaney, I'm really looking forward to film and television coming up in 2023. I got a lot of projects that I know behind the scenes are getting ready to break. Some of them will be taking me like Texas and New Jersey and Florida. And so we're really pumped. There's some really big passion projects that we're going to get involved with that we're excited that are finally coming to fruition. So I look forward to that. The artist cinema is where my heart's at. And I just, anytime we can be on set and on camera doing our thing and creating art the way we do it, and our own art too is fantastic. So that's where I'm at. But 2023, more film and television.
All right. And Rusty?
I did a lot of stage when I was younger. So film is a big passion for me, and voice work. That's where I'm at right there. So I have about I'd say about 4 or 5 jobs already booked for next year for voice, and one on camera appearance. So that's where I'm at right now.
There you go. And we wish you a lot of success on that. For myself, I will mostly still be doing this, Danapalooza, because I feel like it's very important, and it's important giving opportunities and connecting people. If I have my choice, I would like to do film, just some small stuff here and there. I really like the challenge, and I feel like it's a good growing thing for me. But I have so many things going on that I can't give a lot of time. So I'm real, and I'm just like, well, just here, there. So just as long as I get an opportunity to grow and learn, that's mostly what I'm about. So. But, and I will keep you updated on that. But mostly my heart is here in Danapalooza, and maybe to have Danapalooza live someday. So that would be amazing.
Right?
I'd like to see that, buddy. That would be cool.
Steve and I would definitely come do a panel with you. It would be a blast.
With Rusty, yeah.
With anybody, I don't care. Like it would just be a fun time with you hosting, Dan, of course.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, could do that. There'll be no swords, but yeah, could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Unless it's digital, in my hand, somebody Photoshop.
Hold all of the prop weapons aside; they'll be locked away.
Exactly.
No injuries can happen.
There'll be this big chain padlock, there'll be like no entrance. It'll be voice activated. Just gonna have it'll be an ongoing gag with every episode.
Now he has to end the show with an explosion.
Yeah.
Show to show that Middle Eastern bellhop never got away with it.
I will go the South Park route, Rusty, and make it out of construction paper and just edit it and do some cheesy voiceover. So, one of my last questions that I have is, I want to know, because all of you come from different realms in the world of acting. All of you have different experiences, and all of you have different knowledge, and all of you are very talented. So this is kind of like for people who are maybe getting their start as an actor and actress. So what kind of advice do you want to give somebody who's starting out, if they have to do a gig free versus paid, because I know we all want to make money and everything, but sometimes it's hard when you're first starting out. So I want to go ahead and start this question with James.
Yeah, man. First off, make sure it's what you want to do. You have to be prepared to sacrifice. You're going to have to give up some things. You're going to be prepared for some people in your life might want to walk away from you. These things do happen. You got to give it everything you have. You got to sacrifice. You got to put all your passion into it. Be ready to be told no. You got to have thick skin. You're going to get told no a lot. It's okay. It's part of the game. You're going to get knocked down. It's just get up every time. Get up. Keep coming in. Smile. Work the room every time you get a chance to audition. Every opportunity you get leads to something. So just make sure that you're in there with, taking notes and you're learning from every experience. You don't lose if you learn from the experience. You know what I mean? You only win. So just be ready to take it all. It's going to come. Just be ready for the ups and the downs. And if you stick it out over time, I promise you will get where you need to be.
Very, very wise words. I feel like doing a Yoda, thing, but very wise you are, but like that was very wise.
Well, that's just the truth, man. You get knocked down a lot. You just learn from it. It's life. It's the business. So
it is, but you always have to dust yourself off and move forward. It's one of those things where the passion has to outweigh the rejection. So let's move on to Delaney. Same question.
Yeah, agree 100% with what James said, actually, like everything that James said. With that, though, I think I want to put another layer onto it, and that would be like, if this is something that you are pursuing, I would really ask that person to think, is this truly what you want to do, or is this like a hobby? Because you're going to look at it a very different way if that's the case. Like, if you want to make it a career, I'm going to give you different advice that I would give you if you're just saying, oh, I want to do this for fun. However, regardless of what path you're taking, like what James said is 100% true, because you're going to run into that same thing regardless if you're taking this as your career or as a hobby. So, but that's like a question that I had been asked when I first got started in here too, and it really made me think like, oh, am I actually mentally prepared to do this if I'm going to do this as a career? It makes you really reevaluate everything. So that would be the very first question that I would say. Like, are you doing this for your career? Do you really want to do this? Or is it just like a hobby? You want to do it for fun?
Yeah. And I feel like that's very important to know which edge of the scale are you going to be and which door you tip towards, you know? So like, and there's, as I always say, because I do it more as a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that, you know, as long as, you know, you're still doing what you're doing. You know, I like my job that I do daily, and then I do this on the side, and there's nothing wrong with.
And this is his impression of a mannequin.
Dave, did you freeze? Is anybody seeing this?
I think you froze.
We lost Dan.
Oh no, Dan. You know what's funny? The last time I interviewed with him, this exact same thing happened. And now I feel like I'm cursed.
So do we like have a hostless magical show now? What do we do?
Yeah, I don't know.
One of us are going to have
pass it along. Like, who's next?
I'm going to be the new Dan. So let me go ahead and ask you. Same question, Aleen. Go ahead.
While we're waiting for him, I suppose. I think both of you made really good points. I'm pointing to people whose boxes are in different spots on everybody's screen. It's great. But like James and Delaney, you guys had some good points. Being someone who does this more for the passion and the hobby than trying to make it a full-time career, I definitely agree with you. You need to know where your maximum amount of time commitment is involved, is allowed, is available, I think. But the biggest thing for me, though, is don't act like a complete asshat on a set. Don't burn your bridges. Everybody talks. Creators talk.
That's right.
And if you are an ass, everyone in the film community in that town is going to know about it, and you are going to kill yourself a lot of jobs. I'm not saying you have to be like a yes man and suck up to whoever's in charge, but you need to like carry yourself professionally when you're on a set. That's all I'm going to say. Recent experiences have brought this to light, of course.
I feel like that's
He's back.
a good, like, just general statement that is really underrated. So I'm really happy you said that.
So
Dan, you're okay with me saying ass hat on your stream, right? Because I did like 3 times.
Yeah,
When you were gone, buddy, everybody was cursing up a storm. You're going to have some heavy edits going on.
Yeah, James started taking his clothes off. It was
and they're back on already. That's all.
I mean, I was going to tell everybody that was my. See, I'm a magician now, virtual magician, and you know, and I just transform from here to there. So
James put on a good show while you were gone. I didn't know you could wear your G-string backwards.
Hey, see that? You learn something new every day. It's a multi-talent. It's an acquired taste.
I do believe we passed the question to you next, Rusty.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you know what? Everybody said some good stuff, but I'm going to address the free and paid part.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I'd say to people. I've been doing comic books since the late 70s, comic book artwork, and I've been doing movie artwork for some big productions since the 70s. And people always ask me, you know, about getting paid or whatever. When I was at comic conventions, I used to run a panel called Free to Fee, and I would teach people how to do free work and get paid for it at the same time. Some of it extends into acting and voice work, but a lot of it is for art. But the most important thing is you can't buy experience. And if somebody comes up to you and has a good production and they're a worthwhile person and the part is good, do it. I would rather have 100 $1 rolls versus one $100 roll. That's just the way I look at it. Now everybody could think differently, and not everything works for every person. But that works for me, and I always feel that when you get a new person who's acting, voice acting, doing artwork, whatever, you have to get to them. And just like the ladies both said in their points, you have to get to them early, because if you don't teach them the right way and teach them a good attitude, someone's going to come along and give them a crap attitude, and then they're going to pass that on to someone else. They'll burn the bridges. They'll be the asshat, whatever. And I've helped a lot of artists get started, given them trading card jobs or comic book jobs, voice people, on and on and on. And they're like, wow, I really like working with you because you don't yell and you don't have an attitude and you don't say this and you don't say that. So the free versus paid part is actually a point that's near and dear to my heart, because I've been doing it for a long time. Not everything that I did was paid, but it made me the person I am today. And I wouldn't be able to move on to my next part without knowing that I had both free and paid jobs behind me, because of the experience, the people, the attitude that it brought out of me, the attitude that I bring to the job that I do. So
It's those are all good points, Rusty, and I thank you for bringing them forward. For me, it's more of a hobby for me. So I'm kind of more on the scale of the free instead of the paid, because I do have my other line of work that keeps me afloat. So this is just something I dabble on the side, but I definitely feel I do like it when I do get paid. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a lot of fun, but I'm more kind of like, if you're starting out and you just want to do this and you have your ties to other things. So I sit on more on that side of the fence. But I know we've had some technical glitches, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap stuff up on Danapalooza. Is there anything else you want to say or promote on the show? We'll start with Delaney.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I guess those last, the opportunity to just promote my production company 3BT and myself as head producer, director of the company, and an actor in the company. We are heading into our 2023 slate year, and we have several projects coming up. So stay tuned. Keep active on our Facebook pages and our website, because that's where all of the active information is going to be. And plugging this big opportunity for us and the film community, we do have our feature film that's going to be coming up later this year titled Max, Son of the Damned. So we're really excited about that. It's like a fantasy thriller vibe. And it's kind of a area that I think a lot of indie film, and particularly the Pittsburgh community, doesn't necessarily venture into. So we're really excited to be bringing that to this area. And so yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll be acting in it.
Oh, okay. We will look forward to that. James?
No, Dan, just you know what, I want to thank you, bud. You've had me on the show, 3 times now, I think. You and I met together as actors, man, and I just want to congratulate you on everything that you've done. Because I've watched you grow as a creative and build your brand here now, and I'm really proud of the work that you've been doing. The show's opening up a lot of doors for people, and that's something you should be proud of, and I'm proud of watching you do it, man. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the virtual fist bump. Boop. Boop. So I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Aleen?
As you put in the ticker tape so kindly for us, our current film that's out and about right now is Amityville Christmas Vacation. It is a lovely mashup of Amityville films and Hallmark Christmas love romance movies Yes, love romance. That's a genre. Man wins a trip to a exclusive bed and breakfast in Amityville, falls in love with a ghost, and comedy ensues. It's doing really well. We are looking for the release of Shingles, the movie, sometime in early 2023. That's for Authors and Dragons. And and hopefully we'll have some more information about a possible third chapter to Kara's Hell coming up next year as well. And Dan, you rock, and I agree. Like, your show is great. You can have me anytime. I love it here.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Rusty.
Well, in the past couple of months, I got to play a giant cat, a banana, Santa Claus, a dinosaur, and somehow, God knows, a teenager in voiceovers. And then I got to play a secret agent on camera in the movie Zero coming out. So those are all like really cool accolades for me because I'll tell you, this year I've had more work than I've ever had before. So, but let's talk about Dan. Dan rocks. I want to emulate everybody's sentiments. Dan rocks. It's nice to be here. Dan's asked me a couple of times to be on his shows for various reasons. I refuse to do the porn one because I don't like talking about the goats. But I'm here anyway as a friend of Dan. So, and that's about all I can say,
man. So I'll go ahead and wrap up. This has been truly amazing and humbling experience. I think very highly of all of you, and I know you're very talented in your craft. I really wish the best for 2023. Danapalooza is going to keep on rolling. We already have some great guests. We have an author panel that's going to be happening. We have the Royal Hawaiian from Glow Wrestling. She's going to be here. We have some of the gorgeous girl models that are going to be here. And we just have like a slew of people. We already have about 9 to 10 guests for January. So we're just going to keep plowing along and seeing what we come up with on the other side. So I'd like to thank all of my talented guests at this time. James Quinn, Rusty Gilligan, Delaney Hathaway, and Aleen Isley. Oh my, it took a long time to get that name right.
You're doing great.
I know. I said it like in the mirror before. Aleen, so I read before it. But so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you.
Happy Hanukkah. First night of
Hanukkah. Yeah, first night of Hanukkah is today.
Right?
So thank you for being on Danapalooza. I have one more guest Tuesday. Wrestler and boxer Jess Barnes will be here. So, and that'll be it. So take care. Have a good night.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Happy holidays.